Heel the Face podcast. We are joined as always with Brandon Icebreaker Clements. You can find him on Twitter at Icebreaker21. Myself, Jared, just Jared Wicks. Most importantly, follow the program on Twitter at Heel to the Face. It is time for our social media Smackdown of the week. So let's start things off with our Twitter question of the week. So the brackets have been revealed for the UK Championship Tournament. They did this last year in the United Kingdom. It was like a 2-day thing. This year, the tournament is going to be held, I believe, at the Download Festival, which is like a music festival going on with some wrestling. And it's eventually going to culminate with the winner this year getting a shot at Pete Dunne. Let me correct. He's the UK champion. I just want to double check.
Yes, Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne is UK.
Yes.
So the winner of the tournament gets a shot at Pete Dunne and the UK championship. Now, the UK championship has been somewhat of an intriguing thing to me because it's really not defended. It's like, you know, winning like a Super Bowl championship. You win it, you have it, and then that's it, right?
Sort of. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I'll say this. I mean, early favorite. I haven't seen the bracket yet, but if Tyler...
Drew Gulak?
I'll say Tyler Bates going to win. I think if he's in it, Tyler Bates got to be the favorite because Tyler Bate is the I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's an inaugural champion, if I'm not mistaken. I think and Tyler's one of the best in the business right now.
I'm looking up the bracket now because I don't think Tyler Bate is in it. And I'm looking back and he's not.
What?
Two 205 Live guys, Jack Gallagher and Drew Gulak, will go against each other in the first round. But other than that,
that's stupid.
No Tyler Bate.
That's stupid. You know what? That ticks me off. Now it takes the luster away because I'm not a fan of the 205 Live guys being in this tournament. I'm not.
So you're not a fan of that?
No. I mean, here's the thing. I'm a fan of UK wrestling. I'm a fan of like what it offers. But here's the issue. They're not using most of these guys are not. I have not seen them fight in the UK, in the UK world, so to speak. They're not wrestling.
Yeah, we are. This is our first foray into seeing most of these guys compete. And it's funny because I watched like the bracket revealed, and they were telling us, who would be the favorite, and who's got a problem with another person, and I'm like sitting there thinking like, I watch a lot of wrestling, and I don't know any of this stuff. I mean, I can't follow everybody all the time.
Yeah. And to me,
I would have no idea why anyone would have a feud. Why Tucker would have a feud with Joe Coffey, or why Kenny Williams and Dave Masted is already the early pick for the best match. I don't know why.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I don't know these guys very well. So to me, I'm kind of curious. I'm very disappointed that Tyler Bate's not in it because to me, Tyler Bate is probably aside from Pete Dunne, probably the best UK wrestler they got. Honestly.
So outside of Drew Gulak and Jack Gallagher, and it's kind of strange because they have them facing each other, so only one is going to move on instead of having them kind of thrown throughout, so you'd at least have a few guys that we're familiar with. But I'm going to ask this question, and this is a question I asked this week on Twitter. Does the UK tournament of WWE provide more interest to you, the fact that there's an actual championship at stake?
Yes.
Meaning that it's not just, let's say Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne were not in this, and this was just a brand new tournament, and the winner just, got this year's belt. Or even if Pete Dunne was in it, but there was, his championship wasn't, let's say on the line in a singles match. He had to go through the tournament like anybody else.
I would say this. Knowing the bracket, because this is, when you showed me the bracket here, that was the first time I've seen it. So that's why I was throwing Tyler Bate out there because I would assume he would have been in it. Obviously, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he's hurt or whatever. But because there's, because the winner gets the, the winner of this tournament wins the championship.
Well, no, the winner of the tournament is the number one contender, and then fights be done in a one-on-one match.
So there's a title on the line at that point.
Yeah.
So you win the tournament, you're in the title picture. You're getting a match. To me, yes, there's more intrigue because if this was just a regular match,
that it kind of ties in last year's tournament into this year's tournament. Like it's an ongoing thing. It's not like if you're the defending champion, then you're relevant the next year. Or if you're the champion, I guess.
I'll say this.
Because you're not Tyler Bates, the defending champion.
I'm hoping I'm pleasantly surprised because I'll watch it just to see because here's the thing. Now that I see who's in it, I don't know these guys very well, so I want to get familiar. Maybe they're
The question is though, why really get too familiar? Because I mean, what did they do with Pete Dunne?
That's true.
He wasn't on the WrestleMania card. He wasn't on he's not an NXT superstar. He didn't elevate himself to Adam Cole or anything.
The UK style is great though. But Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, every time they're in the ring together, it's magic. Every time I've watched them in an NXT show, it's fantastic. It's great stuff. So to me, I don't know these guys, so I don't want to, I'm not trying to slight these guys, but I don't know who these guys are. So to me, I want to see who, how these guys perform. And maybe there is a Pete Dunne or a Tyler Bate in there that I'm like, oh man, this is a hidden gem because I didn't know those guys before I watched them, before I watched, the UK tournament. I'm curious, yes, But I'm not going to set the bar high on the expectation side of things.
I'm saying just, do more with them. I guess that's the thing. If you do more with them, then I'll show more intrigue.
True. I agree.
But, they're not really doing too many things with them. So I'm in the group. The poll is a pretty new poll, so there's still time to vote. But it's 100% saying, the title makes a big deal.
Speaking of, I know I kind of touched on NXT. Did you see that NXT is being thrown in with Fox now? Did you see that?
I did not, no.
Yeah, so here's some news. Cordy, and this is, if you want to follow them, it's at Slice Wrestling. This came out yesterday. It was on Wednesday, day before our recording here. And it says here, NXT will air on Fox or FS1 programming as part of a new TV deal in 2019. This expansion is another step in WWE's attempt to give a larger audiences a convenient way to watch the product, essentially.
I mean,
that's interesting. I saw this, and I figured you might have jumped on it because usually you're usually on top of your game with that stuff. I saw that on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Now, in future weeks, there's been some talk about with these deals and these TV deals and all the money that's involved in the TV, if it's going to be more valuable for the WWE to really put their best product on television versus on the WWE Network, and how they could affect the WWE Network in the future. Without getting into pay-per-views or anything, that'll be for another time. But NXT that's a prime example right there. That's without a doubt, I would probably say they're number one watched outside of a pay-per-view program on the WWE Network.
Yeah,
there's really nothing else that people really go to weekly. Everything is kind of just when I feel like watching it. But NXT is their show. It's the WWE Network's show.
To me, it's like the flagship show for WWE Network. To be honest with you, I mean, obviously you had the pay-per-views, but if we're talking, show perspective, NXT is the flagship for the network for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to now our tweets of the week. Brandon, we'll start with your tweet of the week because you seem pretty excited over here.
Yeah, this is a great tweet, by the way. This is I'm glad I found this. So as we're recording the show, we record the show every week in Central New York. Great place. We love it here. Well, Jared's kind of like, maybe. So nonetheless, and here's the funny thing. So there's big news that's going on. It's getting Syracuse on them. Syracuse, and we're my hometown. I'm from Camillus, which is 10 minutes down the road. Former student that I went, or former kid I went to school with.
Oh, so you know this? You know him?
I don't know him that well. Like, okay. As soon as I saw his face, I'm like, I went to school with that guy.
It's absolutely. Let me just say, all of this is absolutely ridiculous.
So to preface the story, Michael Rotondo, he's a local kid here, local guy here in Camillus.
Rotondo, not Rotundo.
I think it's Rotondo.
Because the Mike Rotundo I'm familiar with is Rotund.
It might be. I don't know.
I want to tie into the wrestling.
Yes,
so we want to make sure he's got the tie. So you pronounce it the same way.
Maybe it's Rotundo. Maybe it is.
It can be Rotundo and Rotunda. It's Mike Rotunda.
Rotunda. So nonetheless, the preface the story. So there's this big deal where there's a big court battle between him and his parents because this guy is over 30 years old. And he doesn't feel like he needs to get a job, and he wants to live at home. So his parents said, no, you're going to get a job. We'll give you money. And they pretty much got a court order to evict him, and now it's been this big story. He's been all over the news. So it's, if I'm not going to go too much into it, but, check it out. I'm sure if you don't live under a rock, I'm sure you've heard a little bit about it. So the reason why we're bringing that up is, number one, we're in Syracuse. Number two, I found this tremendous tweet, and actually it was a shout-out on Raw. So Amplified to Rock, great Twitter handle, by the way. The tweet that they came out with, it says, I like to imagine that Mike Rotunda, we'll say, what is it, Rotunda?
Rotunda.
We'll say Michael Rotundo is actually Mike Rotunda. And then I giggle that the father of Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt was evicted from his parents' basement. I thought that was funny because I forgot about that because I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, wait, that's Bo and Bray's dad. And then if you go back a generation, I believe their grandfather was a wrestler too, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not familiar with the grandfather. Obviously, I'm familiar with IRS. Mike Rotunda, the Syracuse University Wrestling Conference champion.
Yes,
as well as obviously his kids, Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt, in wrestling as well. I'm looking for the tweet now, and this was actually good. It's from somebody who works here at Galaxy Wrestling. You can follow him.
Galaxy Wrestling.
or Galaxy Communications, where we record the show.
Yes.
You can find him on Twitter at Rick on TK99, a local station, TK99
Great.
Classic Rock.
Yeah,
he
suggest
actually
you listen to the program
subtweeted this way before your tweet a couple weeks ago, and it said Barry Windham couldn't be reached for comment. But that is actually not going to be my tweet of the week. My tweet of the week is going to be from Dave Meltzer. If you don't know who Dave Meltzer is, then you probably are not watching this show on YouTube. You're not listening to the podcast. Exactly. He's a wrestling guy. That's all he does is he critiques and talks about wrestling. And as many people discount him, they still hold him in like this high regard. He's this weird person in society. You're like, he doesn't know anything. It's like, if he doesn't know anything, how can we still like keep giving him all this attention?
Exactly.
Like all these wrestlers, he's stupid. But then, like, how come you wait to see what your match was ranked by Dave Meltzer if his rankings don't matter? Like, it doesn't make much sense to me at all.
Exactly.
But either way, he was the person that was behind this All In with the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes, because he's been somebody who kind of said, hey, Ring of Honor, they're super popular right now, but those guys couldn't sell out, a 10,000 seat arena. That's the difference between them and WWE. But now he's kind of come back. And somebody said, could a card with Omega and Punk sell out MSG? And Dave Meltzer says, depends on the promotion. But All In, and I'm even saying he might be discluding the fact that it might be Omega versus Punk, just saying the All In event in general. He thinks it would have sold out Madison Square Garden immediately. So the answer is yes, under the right circumstances, that All In would have sold out Madison Square Garden,
Agreed.
Which is a very strange tweet from Dave Meltzer, because this event is being held because Dave Meltzer said in a tweet that Cody Rhodes, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega couldn't sell out a 10,000 seat arena. That's the difference between them and WWE. They couldn't do it. That was their fire under them. That's what the motivation. So
exactly.
He's like, yeah, you guys, you're cool and all, but you couldn't sell out an actual arena. And now he's saying they could have done even better, that they could have sold out Madison Square Garden.
Which is double the size.
Size. And obviously much higher, when it comes to importance and stuff.
Absolutely.
But, like I said, it's strange that, he says, they obviously would have raised ticket prices to, in this Twitter thread to, obviously because the rent for Madison Square Garden would have been much bigger than the Sears Center in Chicago, which is an NBA developmental league basketball arena that holds exactly 10,000. But regardless, I found it just very interesting that Dave Meltzer sent out something in that regard after, he's the reason for the event.
Exactly.
He's the reason for the season, if you will.
True.
So that is going to do it for our social media Smackdown segment of the week. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube at Heel to the Face, and follow us on Twitter individually at Brandon the Icebreaker Clements, Icebreaker21, and myself, Jared Wicks.